Hello everyone, I am César Augusto Moniz. Welcome to Conversas Da Alma, Soul Talks. Today we have an American guest, the famous Psychic Claire Daugherty, who brings us message from the angels. She travels around the world advising heads of state, diplomats, artists and people of the most varied professions who use her services for many ways. In this way she raises funds for a charitable foundation in Haiti. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and click and activate the bell to be warned of all our premieres and interviews with our fantastic guests. Also put a like if you like and share with your friends all these interviews. Claire Daugherty is a mystic who has the incredible gift of communicating spiritually with the angels. In her workshops, she teaches the importance of asking the angels for all their possible help with their magnificent power to solve the most varied dilemmas of life. In the individual sessions, she reports all messages and visions of the beings of light, and then in the last 30 minutes, she answers about your life. Stay with us until the end of this interview and learn from Claire how to communicate and have the support of the angels to improve your life. Claire, thank you so much for coming from such a long way into Portugal and into our studio.
I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you, Claire. Claire, in the first place, what is the angel's message for Portugal and the Portuguese?
Well, I think that Portugal is a very special place. Portugal is an important energy center, and the Marian energies, the energies of Mother Mary, are very strong here.
The feminine energies, you want to say?
The divine feminine, and the work that Mary started here in Fatima was a move towards world peace. She gave a very clear message of steps that had to be taken to avoid a future war. Unfortunately, that war did come to pass, and there was great suffering because her message was not adequately heeded.
So, in your opinion, this divinity was a lady, was an angel, a feminine angel?
I think
what
it was
the
expression of the divine feminine. Mary is often a symbol of the feminine aspect of the divine.
In many cultures, isn't it?
In many cultures, and also because Portugal has a history as a Catholic country, it is the most easily understood and recognized to the Portuguese people traditionally.
That's why it manifests like that.
Yes, exactly.
It's easier to understand.
Exactly.
And to pass the message.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How important are the angels for us, the mortal beings?
Oh, very, very important. The angels were created to care for us. They're spirit beings. They have not had a physical experience, and they are much more advanced than we are. And the heavenly angels, we'll talk about the fallen angels later.
Yeah.
They have a huge advantage over human beings. Every culture has a story of the fall, however that's told, but at some point we recognize that we lost our connection to our own divinity. We lost that connection somehow, and we lost our spiritual senses. The angels never went through that. They've always been connected.
They're still connected.
Exactly.
Fully connected.
Fully connected. They're far more ancient than humans, and they're benevolent beings that only want our best, and that's their mission.
So they want to serve us.
They want to serve us.
For our evolution.
For our evolution, exactly. But because they are in the position of servants, their mission is to serve, we must request their help. They will never interfere with our free will.
Because of the free will.
That's very sacred, and they will not touch it. So they're waiting eagerly for our requests, and depending on our intent, the intent is very important, they will work with us and support us.
Like co-creators.
Exactly. We are the co-creators with God. We are divine beings.
We are divine
and
beings.
They are supporting us and opening many amazing doorways.
And portals.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing. Can you explain also the difference between fallen angels and the angels that are faithful to God? Because this is a question that many people ask.
This is a question I always get in my workshops.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. People tend to be afraid because they know that there are beings of dark energy who would use us, if we allow it, to cause harm and to cause chaos. If you look from the Christian perspective, the biblical story is that Lucifer fell from grace and 1/3 of the angels went with him. That means that 2/3, which is a large majority, stayed in their divine mission.
Yeah.
And what I tell people, you don't need to be afraid of them. Your intention is paramount.
So
What do you want to do? If you're looking to do some service, or you're looking to grow to your fullness of the fullness of your divinity, to fully blossom, if you're looking
expand.
yes, if you want to serve the world, you will attract the higher spirit world. If you're looking to create problems, guess who you'll attract?
Yeah.
The angels are on all different frequencies, just as people
different
are.
dimensions.
They're on different strengths, but the ones who are working for God directly, they have to work with the purity of our intention.
So we have to have a pure heart when we ask or
Yes.
when we do that intention.
Absolutely. As you know, I have a charitable foundation in Haiti,
Yes.
and in Haiti, voodoo.
I've been there already. Yes.
Oh yes, so
There's
you
a
know
lot of voodoo.
there's a lot of voodoo, there's a lot of witchcraft, and in the West we tend to dismiss it as
Yeah.
nonsense or
But
superstition.
magic exists.
Oh, it's very, very real and it's very powerful, and a lot of the dark energies, fallen angels, work with that. But always the intention is to dominate somebody, to control someone, to do harm, to get revenge, whatever. So that's what the fallen angels
So of
are
course they
attracted to.
attract the lower
Absolutely.
spirits or these fallen
And the
angels.
higher spirits are working, the higher angels, the pure angels, they want to help us create a world of peace.
And what about who is Lucifer? There is so many stories about Lucifer. In your opinion, who is Lucifer?
In my opinion, Lucifer was an archangel, is an archangel, who fell from grace. He was involved with Adam and Eve, whether you believe in a literal
Yeah,
Adam
the
and
creation of
Eve
Eden.
or a symbolic beginning of humankind, however you wish to interpret it. But I think most of your listeners are probably familiar with the biblical narrative in the book of
we are
Genesis.
Catholic, most of us, we are Catholic.
Yeah, so they've
Even
all...
if we don't practice, because
Yes.
we are a little bit already, we are more expanded in our consciousness. So there is good principles in the Catholic Church, but we don't follow it like before.
But I'm sure your listeners are familiar with the story.
Very familiar.
I believe, and now this is a very interesting, we can do another interview on this perhaps sometime.
Of course.
That Lucifer interfered with, his job was to protect and to educate the early humans, the first humans.
The first humans.
That we know from evolution that there was a series of humanoids,
Yes.
and at some point, Homo sapiens emerged,
Yes.
who was different from the predecessors.
Totally
different. And because it was an evolutionary leap, a spiritual leap, the angels were in charge to help make that leap. But Lucifer left his proper position, and he put himself between Adam and Eve and God. And people might find very radical. I believe it was actually the misuse of love, that it was actually a sexual fall. And the angels were never meant to have this kind of relation with humans. But Adam and Eve...
a sexual one?
Yes, a sexual relationship. Of course, Adam and Eve were fully open spiritually. They could see the spirit realm as clearly as I can see your face.
But they were crystalline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Eve had this relationship with Lucifer, and then when she did, she realized this was out of the divine order. And in her effort to realign, she came and gave the fruit to Adam. Now, if you think of the biblical narrative, after they fell, what did they cover? They covered their sexual organs.
The lower part, yes.
They covered themselves with fig leaves. And when God came into the garden, he said, Adam, where are you? He knew that Adam, he could see where Adam was, but he knew that he had left this oneness that he had with God. And when Adam said, I hid because I was afraid, because I'm naked. And God said, who told you that you're naked? Anyone who has ever had a little child knows small children have no shame of being naked because they feel free. They're pure.
Pure heart.
So because they had deviated from the divine plan, Adam and Eve were meant to be a couple, but they were not fully mature. And Eve was tempted by Lucifer, And then everything started falling apart at that point. So if you look at the biblical history, the Old Testament, the New Testament, and now there are many revelations pouring down on the earth. And the book of Revelation says that that is going to come.
Mm-hmm.
That new revelations are coming to bring us back to that original point.
To the ownness.
Exactly. The original point that we lost in the Garden of Eden.
Interesting.
And whatever you might
Interesting
interpret
theory,
that.
yes.
I like the allegory of the garden. I think that's
The garden is beautiful.
It's beautiful because it represents purity, pristine beauty, nature, and it's
The connection with
perfect essence.
nature and the
Yes.
heaven. And how do they reveal to you? Through thought? Do you see images? Do you see their wings? Do you see their etherical body? Or they just appear in your thought, in your mental part of your brain? How is it?
It depends.
How is the process?
Sometimes I will hear an angelic voice.
How is the angelic voice? Can you
very clear.
tell us?
Very clear. It's not a physical voice. I don't hear it physically, but sometimes I will hear it, especially when I'm in danger. I will get a very crystal clear warning and be given direction.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go there, turn here, turn that, slow down, whatever. And sometimes it comes on me as a knowing.
Mm-hmm. Like inspiration, kind of.
Like an inspiration. Sometimes I will ask a question in my mind verbally, or sometimes out loud, and I'll hear a voice I hear a spirit voice, and it will answer me as clearly as you and I are talking right now. And sometimes it comes just in my heart as a knowing or as a clarity. I guess it's hard to put it into words exactly.
Yes. And do you see images also, or no? You don't see images.
Sometimes, but
Sometimes.
usually I'm more a person of words.
Ah, okay. But when you see the images, how do they appear? With
Well,
wings or just etherical body?
I like my angels with wings.
I think everybody likes the angels with wings.
Well, I grew up as a Catholic, so as a little child, I had pictures of angels, and this is my cultural concept of an angel, and I'm very comfortable with it. I love the idea of the angel enveloping me in their wings, and I think that they appear differently to different people. It depends on your own traditions and
your own perspectives and programations also.
Yes. What's a good fit for you? My personal guardian angel,
yes.
I see her as a feminine being, and she's very soft, very gentle, very motherly. And she reminds me a lot of my elder sister, actually.
Interesting.
Who I love very much and has been like a guardian angel to me throughout my life. Has always helped me out.
And they act through the family and through the ancestors too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We will go there. Go there. You said the angels can bend time. Why they bend the time and for what?
Oh, that's a good one. I am chronologically challenged. In other words, I sometimes have a difficult time being where I need to be on time. I tend to do too much and think I can squeeze in one more thing. So I've learned that the angels will help me if I have done my best. If I have been responsible about organizing my time and trying to get where I need to be.
To make a structure.
They will, if suddenly there's a traffic jam, for instance, or a situation that's completely beyond my control, it's as if they can speed time up, slow time down, or perhaps the other person will be delayed that I have to meet, especially if it's a very important meeting.
I see now.
They can reorganize things.
Explanation of the bending time. Yeah.
Yes, they can, because they're beyond the physical realm, and time is a construct of the earth plane. So they can help us by manipulating it if need be.
Also.
Not for frivolous things.
Of course.
And not if we're irresponsible.
But for important things in our life.
Yes, and they're very good at helping us meet the right people at the right time. So they can cause somebody to have a little delay or distraction so that we can just cross paths.
Just in the right time.
Yes.
For the ones who want to attract financial prosperity and love, which are the angels to invoke?
Well,
what is your suggestion?
I have an opinion on this, and I think if you wish to have financial prosperity, one thing that's very important is to be generous.
Yes, to give.
You have to give because the universe.
So one message for you people: if you want to have prosperity, give.
Give. You must give. You have to create space for blessing to come. If you live in fear, financial
if you, like
fear,
thinking, oh, I don't have.
yes, that will be your reality. That will be your reality. But if you think in abundance, I have everything I need. And most of us who live in the West, that's true. As you know, I work in Haiti, and many people don't have the essentials of life. They don't have water to drink.
I've been there already.
Yes, so you've seen it firsthand. And yet I found in Haiti, people have so much gratitude. They have gratitude because they realize they're rich in relationships. And relationships are the things that can endure into the next realm.
That's true.
Nobody
that connects us into the next
we
realm.
cannot take any of these
Eternally
things with
sometimes.
us. Yes.
Eternally.
Yes, we can't take any material goods with us. Material goods are a tool to help us function on the material plane.
Yes, on the third dimension.
Yes, but they're just a temporary necessity, and we do need them. But if we're thinking on a higher plane and we're working to make this world a better place, we will naturally attract angels who will help us to find all the resources we need. And I have experienced this in the most miraculous ways, especially since I've been traveling and doing this angel work. Doors just open and situations just arise. And I always, at the end of a tour, I always have money to take back to Haiti.
Fantastic.
And it's just, I'll have to do another interview on that. I can
Yeah,
tell you
that's
miracle
true.
after miracle
That would
after
be wonderful.
miracle.
So, but what kind of angel, for the people who want to give and receive prosperity, financial prosperity, what kind of angel they should invoke?
I like that question, Cesar. I would say that angels are kind of like a collective.
Consciousness.
Yeah, like we have many cells in our body. Each cell is unique and different, but they're all connected.
Yes.
So the
like
angels
exactly.
The angels are connected to each other, and I don't think we have to worry too much about this one, that one, or the other one. What I like to do personally is I like to ask my guardian angel. She's my executive assistant.
So
and I just tell her, please, I need.
Yes, with the others.
She has the angel director.
With the, that's very interesting.
She's the expert. I just tell her what I need, and it's there.
It's there. And what about love?
Love also. Love is very much, the more love you give, the more love will come back.
Listen, people,
And
as much love you give, you also receive.
and you receive more back even.
Like 3 times more.
Yes, it multiplies. It multiplies. So if you're looking for a love partner, be the best person you can be. Be the very best version of yourself. Don't look for someone who has this or that or the other quality. Look inward and think, how can I become a better version of myself? And as I work to improve myself,
Beautiful.
I will attract somebody who's
On the same
vibrational
frequency.
match. Exactly. So the more loving you are, and if anybody doesn't know how to do that in a practical sense, you can go to my website and support my work in Haiti.
Oh, of course.
You know,
of course.
really, I'm serious. Charitable works, whether it's my foundation or any other,
Always works.
giving, if you have
I
very
know that.
little, give a bit of the little that you have and watch it multiply. It's a very biblical concept again. It's from the Old Testament.
In universe, there is no hole. So when you give,
No.
you always, that hole will be fulfilled again.
And there's something magical about 1/10. This was the
1/10?
direct 1/10. The Jews were told
Yes.
to give 1/10, to bring it to the storehouse, so that there would always be food in the temple. And God says, it's in the book of
Why
Malachi.
1/10?
It's biblical.
It's
I don't know, but
okay.
it says in the book of Malachi.
I was trying to understand why.
You rob me. And they say, how can a man rob God? He said, you don't give me my tithes and offerings. So in this world, many people are not connected to traditional churches. For years, that's how people gave. They gave through the church. But you can pick a cause that you're passionate about.
Yeah, that touches.
That's something that touches your heart, something that is making this world a better place, whether it's cleaning up the environment, working with suffering children, feeding people who don't have, food security, education for children that don't have educational opportunities, whatever it is. But it's very important. It's like planting a seed. If you say, I can't give because I don't have enough, that will be real.
Of course.
But if you say, I have so much I can share, and you just give 1/10, and the universe abhors a vacuum.
That's true.
That space
That's true.
will be filled
That space
and
will be fulfilled.
overflowing.
Yeah.
And I experience that. I travel all over the world, and my workshops are free. But I've never gone in the hole yet. My expenses are always paid. I never know how they're going to be, but I know they will be.
Fantastic.
And I just move on faith. This trip to Portugal is quite new for me. I'm working with my partner here, and we're
With
just
Rui?
going. Yes, it's
Which
been
is in our audience, like
quite
our
an
friends
adventure.
too.
But I was assured by the angels to just go. Everything's been taken care of,
Fantastic.
and I trust, and I know that
You
it is.
have good assistance in the heaven.
Absolutely, we do.
In your consultations, in which way do you help people?
Well,
So they
which
can
way do I
understand,
help
people
people?
can
I am
understand.
I'm like the
How do you
like the
work?
postman.
Like a postman.
Yes, I'm just the delivery person. It's like I'm not like a pipe that water flows through. I go into a meditative state. I do it, well, let me say this first. I ask people before they come for a reading to take time to reflect what they hope to receive from the reading. And the first thing they should do is write it down, maybe 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
It can be about family, relationships, money, health. It could be about anything. But by coming to the reading with a very clear intention,
Mm-hmm.
and whether they pray, meditate, or just sit quietly, I ask them to hold that intention clearly. And I usually make an appointment 3 days ahead. I can't do that when I'm traveling, but I give people time to really think about
and feel.
why are they asking for this reading? And then I go into a meditative state, I pray, my spiritual eyes open, and the first thing that comes usually is like a little parable, a little story, sometimes like a fairy tale or a little biblical story, but it's very rich in symbolism. I joke that my guides must have all been playwrights or authors in their life. I don't know, but they love storytelling.
Writers, and you know.
Yes, and then after that, we do that for about 20 minutes, and many of the questions are answered in the little parable, and then we do questions and answers. Now, how does this help people? I have found that when people are able to connect to a loved one who has already transitioned into the spirit realm,
Like an ancestor.
a spouse, a child, that people who lose a child have a very profound grief because it's out of the natural order of
Can you
things.
imagine?
Yes,
I
people-
can't imagine actually.
It is a very heavy burden to bear, but I have found that when I can read for people who have already, seen their children off to the spirit world, and the child comes back, and will give the parent very clear identifiers, so that they know that this is in fact
This
their
is the
child.
spirit of the
And the
child.
child is inevitably filled with joy and excitement and wants to take the parent on a tour of where they live and what they do. And of course, what they're doing depends on the age that they died at, because when a very young child dies, they're given the chance to grow in the spirit world and to mature.
Of course,
And
they
they
will
have-
be more developed.
Yes, loving caregivers. One that died as a young person often still needs to have some experiences. So sometimes these spirits are allowed to come back to earth. It's a little like reincarnation, but I would call it returning resurrection. And the spirit is assigned to someone who has, sometimes it's a relative, there's a DNA connection. Sometimes it's someone,
Like spiritual cords.
yes, sometimes it's someone who has a similar mission, a similar talent, and that's why sometimes you see very small children, incredible prodigies. They're not alone.
Of course.
There are other entities that are just coming right through them
Helping
because
and
the
guiding.
child resonates very harmoniously with that spirit. So the returning resurrection is very similar to the concept of reincarnation. So many of us have a number of people
Yeah.
working through their unfinished business, their physical lives, working with us. And sometimes we get a fantastic
Guides,
inspiration.
ancestors.
Yes, and ancestors are very important because we are linked
know.
like a chain with our ancestors, and there is a family karma that passes from generation to generation. And often when one person could not complete the task, and sometimes it's a task that takes generations,
Yes.
it keeps going down. Sometimes people say, oh, that family seems to be cursed. And it's not that they're cursed, it's just that no one has been able to
The
break
task. Yeah.
that pattern.
Yeah.
Or some families, they're so blessed, they just have such good fortune. Well, it's something they've been building up
Of
over
course.
generations.
Over generations. And what about where in Portugal are you giving the workshops?
I will be in Lisbon this
So,
Saturday.
In Lisbon this Saturday?
Yes, day after
in the
tomorrow.
morning?
10 to 1, right, Rui? 10 to 1.
10 to 1.
And then I will be having message circles after that. And that is a donation.
Yes.
And
the 10 to
after
the
the angel
circle.
workshop, and that's a small group, and everybody will receive an
A
individual
message.
message, but they're necessarily short because we'll keep it to about 10 people. And then after that, I will be doing 1 hour private consultations.
Okay, after that.
Yes, and
On
then
Saturday.
Sunday, I will be here Sunday, and if there is still an interest, if I can't finish with everyone, I will stay over Monday. And then I will go to Coimbra and
So,
Leiria.
after Coimbra and then Leiria.
Leiria.
And Lisbon at the end.
Yes, next weekend I'll be back in Lisbon.
Oh, fantastic.
And-
So do you know the dates, Rui?
23.
23 and 24.
25 Lisbon.
25 Lisbon.
27, 28 Coimbra.
27 and 28 Coimbra.
29
29, where? Do you know?
wait.
Leiria?
26, 7 Coimbra. 27, 28 Leiria. 29 Leiria.
29
30,
Leiria.
30. in
30.
the week. 8 Lisbon again.
30 Lisbon again.
31
Yes.
in 1 of April.
The 30 of March.
Yes, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Monday.
2 weekends I'll be in Lisbon,
Okay.
and in between we'll go to Coimbra and Leiria.
Then we return to Lisbon. Again.
Yes, exactly.
Fantastic. Claire, thank you so much for this interview and for all your efforts to come here into our studio and give this interview to explain these divine beings that are always helping us, isn't it?
They're helping us when we ask.
When we ask.
We have to
oh.
ask, it's to give them permission. And ask, why not?
Yeah, why not to ask? You know,
Yes.
they are there to serve us, isn't
Yes, they're delighted, this is their mission. And when we are successful, they're successful.
it? They are happy
They
to.
want to bring us back to our
Happiness.
pure divinity, yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, César,
Have
for
a
having
little-
me.
Thank you. It was a big, huge pleasure. It was
Pleasure
a huge
was
pleasure.
mine.
Have a wonderful week, and don't forget, if you are interested, please visit Claire Daugherty in these workshops in Lisboa, Coimbra, Leiria, and then again in Lisboa. Have a wonderful week and be happy with the angels.
Bye.